Back with another one. I'm Dawit, pretty much getting versed into the agency space. I'm here to tell you guys how I actually managed to close the first call that I actually went on. I have some experience, but I'm going to go over exactly what frameworks I use and how I actually managed to do it and what it's based off of. First, I'm just going to go over the main steps of what happened, and then I'm going to go over the intricacies as to how you should actually view it as far as frameworks goes for your own purpose. So there are really just three steps that I see within a call if I had to generalize it. And one is just the discovery process where you actually just discover what's going on with whoever you're working with. Second of all, you want to discover what the dream outcome is and how you can achieve it. And then finally, you just want to get them to commit to it and then close up. That would be just the three big steps / big parts of any call that I can think of. So during the discovery, the first goal here is for you to actually just create rapport with whoever you're talking to. What does that mean? When you create rapport, you have to have small talk. You have to get their basic info. You have to know who they are as a person, what they stand for, align your values with them, what their philosophy is, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff just to make whatever interaction you have with them feel more personable and more amicable, where they actually can trust you from a standpoint of, oh, this person is actually a really good person. Then you want to establish their pain point as from a smooth transition to their philosophy, small talk. You want to transition over to what their pain point is, whether it be from a marketing standpoint, from a deal flow standpoint, from lack of customer acquisition, whatever it is. Establish that pain point and then try and see how they attempted to previously solve it. Based off how they attempted to solve it, you want to sit down and really take key notes of that. Say, oh, this is what happened. I see. Is there any other way that you actually tried to solve it that didn't work out by any chance? Because obviously they would not be on the call if they managed to freaking solve the problem, mind you. So you just want to take as many notes down here. You want to really know what they've done to solve it. Obviously it's failed, and that's what you want to get. That's your juice, that's your ammo right here. And then you want to identify exactly what the dream outcome is. And you can actually just go by saying, oh, had it actually worked out, what were you actually trying to achieve here? I really want to know exactly what it is you guys wanted to achieve with attempting to solve this problem. Because the problem may not exactly be the problem may not be the actual problem that solves their dream outcome or that brings their dream outcome to fruition. So you really want to spend time on what it is they want and pinpoint that. And then you actually want to know, what was the timeline that they were looking for? If they had it their way, what would be the realistic timeline as to actually achieving that dream outcome? And after establishing that, you can actually use that to transition towards how you can solve the problem. And you're going to say how, right? So what you can do from here is say somebody says, oh, I tried to, say, mow my lawn, right? And I got a scissor. Yeah, I got a scissor. And it just took forever. And they're going to say, yeah, what I want is a very, very clean lawn. And I want my lawn to look like the best guys in the neighborhood. Nice, well cut, 1 inch long. And that's all I want. And I want it green. So this is where you can come in and say, oh yeah, I'll actually just go over and just tell you why you actually didn't manage to solve this. And had you changed a little bit of things and used some valuable experience, you could have actually achieved this. And say, oh, had you actually brought the lawnmower that we actually managed to access from our provider / vendor, which is Home Depot. You want to be the source of the solving, not them. You want to say, had you actually been using a more adequate tool like a lawnmower or like a longer scissor instead of a freaking hair cutting pair of scissors. From there, you want to say, cool, that's why it didn't work. Once establishing why it doesn't work, you want to say how you can do it. We actually solve this problem in one of the most efficient ways possible here. To make the lawn actually 1 inch long, we actually use our 2022 machine that we got from our private vendors who bring European-based, high-quality lawn mowing products that we actually use to cut your grass to a precision of 0.1 inches. See how much better that sounds? And now you're saying, so what it does is essentially uses nanotechnology, whatever details you know about your product you want to use, right? Or what you're offering. From there, you can say, had you actually utilized it and had you utilized our professionally made irrigation system, you would have actually managed to water your plants from an hour daily right before maximum sunset hits, where they can actually get the moist amount of moisture Got it? You want to say all that and explain why the plants don't grow. You want to establish and command respect. You want them to know clearly that you are fit for it and you are well educated and versed within the space. Got it? And then from there, you explain how you execute. And this sort of happens simultaneously. Finally, you want to explain your timeline. This is what you want to do as far as like, okay, this is what you establish. And you want to say, we've done this for a previous home with similar square footage as your lawn, and it took this much time, and this was how long the process took, and it was probably one of our best times. Usually, on average, we get to here. You want to set that expectation, whether it be better or below that, because at the end of the day, if your offer is good enough, the timeline can make sense as long as it's not too far off. Got it? And then finally, you actually want to transition that from what you're actually offering as far as timeline goes to what's going to be required by them. Because you don't want to narrow this down. Obviously, if nothing's required by them, that's even better. Because this is just me utilizing a framework of offer that I read from Alex Hormozi's book, which was just pretty much value. I pretty much use my sales calls right now. Just go hand in hand with what the value equation is, and I just establish that on any call. In essence, I just say, okay, identify the damn dream outcome, right? We just did that. Then you want to get the perceived likelihood of that actually occurring by establishing precedence as far as previous deliveries of the service, right? You want to increase that to the maximum. And then you want to make what they actually have to do so small, literally practically no input from them, right? That's the epitome of a good offer. And finally, it's just a time delay, which you already mentioned, right? So, I mean, if you know all that and you're using those frameworks to establish a great offer, you're more than well, right? And once you actually have the person knowing, one, you can solve the problem, how the problems were mistaken, how were the problems were badly solved the first time around, how you actually solved the problem, how it's superior to the previous methods that they've actually tried, how delivering it is very, very likely, how the timeline is relatively solid, if not better than what they had anticipated from a realistic standpoint. And now you're going to come in and say, okay, all I need from you is this. In this case, it would be, I need a running water system that can actually flow whenever I'm there. And the other thing that I would need is most likely a couple snacks for my guys that are going to be working the grass. And then you want to minimize whatever you're asking them and compare it. You want to minimize it by comparing it to what they had to put in for their potential problem-solving solution or / attempt that actually failed. So you want to compare the two. And by doing so, you can actually say, oh, he's making me do so much less and actually solving my problem. Little to nothing is what it requires. Because sometimes when you don't use that precedent, it makes it look as if you're actually trying to make them do stuff. No. Whether this is for an agency, I'm just trying to give you guys an example for Long Way because I don't want to tell you guys what my pitch looks like, right? But once you do that and you establish that level of agreement / agreeableness with the client or whoever you're talking to, you then want to confirm that everything actually makes sense and whether or not they're actually really pumped to work with you and really pumped to have everything done like this actually executed on in real life and reach that dream scenario, right? So if there's a lack of understanding, you can retrace back to how you solve it. If that's not the case, you can retrace back to the discovery of the main problem. And you can do that from either how you solve it to back to discovery, from commitment / close area to how you're going to solve it, and all the way back to discovery. Or you can even just skip the how you're going to solve it because that's already clear and identify the problem again and re-tackle it. So these orders just really much vary from person to person and exactly how your sales call is going. Finally, off that confirmation that the person is actually in love with your offer, you want to close and commemorate the official commitment that they're going to be doing, whether it be a contract, money, your team infos, whatever it is. And you want to commemorate that by them actually doing a gesture, which is sending you the money. You get what I mean? So let's set this in stone. And now that you like everything and that we're going to execute on this, me and my team can get straight to work and we can just make this commitment official from a contractual standpoint or from a sending us money by a Stripe. Got it? If you do that, I mean, you're more than good to go. I mean, you'll be making insane amounts of sales sooner rather than later. So like, follow, subscribe. You can follow my journey. Now that I've closed on one side of my marketing agency, now we're going to be working on the other side that's going to earn massive money. Probably going to be working on both sides. It's going to be more work because I need more, I want to say, lack of better word, partners within here, because it's like lots of operating pieces, because it's sort of like an unmanned agency that I'm currently working on, that this field really hasn't been touched too much. So it's like I have multiple players within this thing. But as far as one side of the game, which is actually being able to execute, I've actually lined up, because it's not your classic marketing agency where you can just media buy. This is actually looking for legit people. So that being said, I'm more than stoked. I've actually made my first pretty much I'd say deal slash influencer slash partner deal, that now I can actually work on the side of actually getting the clientele, considering that the clientele is so high ticket that say you even get one, you're sitting at minimum 10K potential. So it's not even about the volume, and there's a crap ton of volume in this field. You just have to have the right way to contact them. And with every successful marketing client that I have, the more valid I'll become. And next thing you know, your boy's going to be doing $100 million deals here. Obviously, these will be most likely equity deals, but it's going to be massive. So yeah, use these frameworks and get yourself out of whatever hole you're going through. You can do this. Like, follow, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.